Welcome to Beyond a Happy Marriage. I'm Arcadius.
And I'm Monica.
If you are striving for something deeper than just a happy marriage,
if you want a relationship that's truly transformative, that leads to intentional living,
then this podcast is for you.
We are absolutely delighted to bring our conversations to English-speaking couples around the world.
How's the weather where you are? Because where I am in Poland, spring has just arrived. Sun all day, above 10 degrees. The birds are loud, the neighbors are out doing spring cleanups. Kids have finally came out of their houses. Our little winter estate of family homes have come alive again. Pure joy. Now, if that's not what your window looks like right now, I'm sorry, you might have to move to Poland. I'm not saying it's an answer to everything, but the weather today, it's pretty convincing. We started our first big garden cleanup yesterday, and there's a lot of it. Our new house has pretty substantial garden, so proportionally substantial amount of mess to deal with. But there's a thing. The whole world is waking up. Everything is coming back to life. And it's curious for me because in the Catholic calendar, this is also Lent. In Polish, we call it Wielki Post, which literally means the Great Fast. Not the great giving up chocolate, the Great Fast. And fasting makes me think of cleaning. Funny, right? My wife Monica did the series about cleaning through fasting, and she talked about the process called autophagy. When your cells don't get food, they start cleaning themselves from the inside. They throw out what's broken, repair what they can. And I think spring does the same thing outside. Lent does it inside. And I thought, let's do the series about cleaning up our brains, about understanding what's actually in there, not to fix ourselves, but to finally see what's really going on. Because for a while now, I've been reading and listening a lot about dopamine, social media addiction, the noise of the modern world and how it affects our brains. And I'm doing it for a specific reason. I want to understand the behavior of people around me, my wife, my sons, my own brain, and doing that, I discovered something that changed the way I understand myself. I discovered that I do exactly the same thing as my oldest son does. I analyze, I break things down, I look for patterns, and I can't stop. And the difficulties we've been noticing in him for years, in communication, in behavior at school, I had the same one as a kid. Only back then there were no words for it. So this is the first episode on a series Your Brain is Not a Mistake, a series about neurodiversity in marriage, and I'm starting with myself. But before we go further, let me tell you what this series is not. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. I do not have formal diagnosis. And that's deliberate choice. Because most of you listening don't have one either. You know something is different, you feel it, but you don't have the words for it. And that's what this episode is about. Not diagnosis, but rather recognition. I want you to walk away from this episode being able to say one of two things. That's me, or that's my partner. And knowing that, it's not a sentence, it's a starting point. So in this series, we will talk about two main neurodivergent patterns that show up in marriages, ADHD and Autism spectrum. They often overlapped. Research from London and Reykjavik shows that about 21% of people have both. The word for it is AuDHD. But every brain is different. Two people with the same pattern can function completely differently. So don't look for user manual here. Look for recognition. And before I go deeper, most of you listening right now aren't subscribed to this podcast, and this series have 5 episodes, each one building on the last. So if what I'm saying is landing, subscribe now so you don't miss what's coming. And if you know someone who needs this, hear this, send them this episode right. Okay, let's keep going. Imagine a car. It has powerful engine, fast acceleration, loads of energy. But the brakes have a delay. You press the brake pedal and the car keeps going for a few seconds before it starts to slow down. I mean, that's what ADHD brain looks like. Thoughts move fast, ideas everywhere, energy is there, but control, emotional regulation, stopping yourself, planning ahead, that comes harder. And not because someone is lazy or undisciplined. The brain literally works differently. Neurotransmitters, mainly dopamine, run on a different settings. So what does it mean in marriage? A husband with ADHD forgets the anniversary, and not because he doesn't care. It's just because his brain doesn't flag in a way that neurotypical brain would. A wife with ADHD starts 3 home projects at once and finishes none. And again, not because she's messy, because her attention actually jumped to the next stimulus. And then there's masking. I mean, this word will come back through my series. Masking is pretending. Neurodivergent people, both ADHD and autistic, spend enormous amounts of energy at work, at school, in social situations, performing normal, pretending to be neurotypical. Researchers at the University of Sutherland, Miller, Rees, and Pearson studied autistic and neurotypical groups and found that masking literally exhausts people to breaking point. People said, masking is my entire life. You come home empty and you explode. Well, paradox. You explode at home because home is the only safe place, the only place where you don't have to pretend. And your partner watches this and thinks, he's fine at work, but with me, he acts like a child. He probably doesn't care about me, or he's somewhere else. No, he's empty. He spent everything out there. The spectrum looks different. It's not about speed, it's about filtering. A brain on a spectrum processes, actually. The process of informations is different. It takes it more data from the environment, sounds, light, textures, other people's emotions, behaviors. Everything comes in. And that doesn't automatically filter what matters from what doesn't. In a marriage, that means a few things. First, literal communication. A husband on the spectrum takes words at face value. For example, his wife says, "Could you help me?" So he hears a question, not a request, and answers, "Yes, I could." Then goes back to where he was doing. I mean, she feels ignored. He doesn't understand why she's upset. Nobody meant to hurt anyone. 2 brains, 2 languages. Or second, the need for predictability. A brain of the spectrum feels safe in repetition, routine. Isn't boredom, it's stability. When something changes suddenly, the day plan, an agreement with a partner, a spontaneous trip, stress levels spike. And that's not being difficult, it's just brain that needs structure to function. And there's another one, intensity, and that's where I will surprise you, but let me get that in a moment. So far, I've talked about 2 patterns, ADHD and spectrum, and about masking, which connects them. Now, I want to tell you my story, mine from a few weeks ago, and you will remember this one because it's funny and painful at the same time, and because it's this story, I understand something about myself that hadn't understood for 40 years. So a few days ago, this happened. We watched a movie as a family, The Unbreakable Boy, a true story about a boy born with bone disease, that every small fall his bones could crack. On top of that, he was diagnosed with autism spectrum later on. I mean, it's a really good film. Really recommend it. This one thing that stuck in my head, that the main character says always, almost every day, "This is the best day of my life." And a few days later, it's winter half term, so we took the whole family to Karpacz, a mountain town in southern Poland. And day 3, a quiet day, we visited a Wild West theme park. I mean, nothing spectacular. Winter, mud, cowboys, horses. And my older son keeps saying, "This is the best day of my life." I mean, nothing new, right? So my son says this a lot. But this time, I mean, after that film, it hit me differently. I heard him differently. And then come the evening. We left the kids with grandma. Yes, grandma is something very useful on the holidays. and Monica and I drove to the shop to buy food for the next day. We bought the food. We bought the boys some sweet drinks because it's half term, so let them have it. And I bought myself an iced tea because I like it and because I thought, well, the boys get some special treat. I can have mine too. I mean, after all, I've been entertaining them all day. So we came back. I carried the bags in, felt the need to visit the bathroom, so Monica unpacked everything onto the table. Help yourselves. And my sons found the treasure, my iced tea. They grabbed it and disappeared into a room straight away. I mean, left their own drinks behind. I came out of the bathroom hoping to enjoy my shop conquest. And I looked, opened, and it started, and it's taken. And yeah, it's a shame, but something switched on inside me. This is mine. I mean, I went back to the shop and bought it for myself. So, I mean, I took the drink from them, and I said, "This is mine." Now, listen carefully, because this is where the thing I want you to understand begins. My son started fighting, but not the way the 8-year-old argues about the drink. He thought as a thief had stolen the best toy he've ever received. As if it were the most precious gift in the world. I mean, emotions are maximum 0 breaks. And me? Well, I behaved exactly the same way. 2 roosters fighting over treasure, identical reasons, identical emotions, and everyone around us, Monica and younger son, grandma, they were like helpless in a storm of emotions, stress and anger. And you know what I did? I mean, yeah, shame. Exactly what my son does when he's in a state. I thought if I can have it, nobody can, and I threw the iced tea into the bin. And came tears, anger, regret. I mean, nothing good at all. Only when the emotions settled, we could actually talk, and this took some time. Everyone described how they felt, the emotions. My son said he felt like the thief had stolen the best toy in the world. I said I bought something for myself because they had theirs, so I had mine and I fought for it. And I mean, in the end, my son said, "Dad, this isn't the best day of my life anymore." And I said sorry, and he said he forgive me. And that night I couldn't sleep. I mean, I lay there analyzing, what did I just do? And that's when it hit me. 2 spectrums met in one room. Neither of us aware it wasn't us fighting, it was our brains fighting over something registered as property. I mean, the same mechanism, the same reaction pattern. It's a 40-year-old and an 8-year-old. Monica knows me inside out. I could obviously have blamed her. She gave the kids my drink instead of saying that's dad's or something like that. But this was never about the drink. It was about the fact that I saw myself in my son, literally, and I understood that we were the same, but also different. I mean, I spoke with my wife after this and next day, and I took my son to the shop and I bought him the biggest iced tea I could ever find. But now I promise you, Elliot, the surprise. In 2021, researchers published a study in Frontiers of Psychology. They tested over 300 adults, people with ADHD, people on the autism spectrum, and neurotypical people. And they gave them something called the passionate love scale, like something like a measure of passionate love. And the result, I mean, people with ADHD and autism scored higher than neurotypical people. Higher, not lower, higher. The same intensity of emotion that caused me and my son to fight over an iced tea, like it was buried treasure, in the same is the same mechanism that makes neurodivergent people to love harder, deeper, and more passionately. It's the same brain. The only question is which direction the energy flows. When you don't understand your brain, the energy goes into conflict, frustrations, explosions. When you do understand it, the same energy goes into love. And that's why this series isn't about fixing the ND brain. It's about learning to dance with it. And I want to tell you one thing because, I mean, after that night in Karpacz, in the winter holiday, I spent weeks analyzing myself, and it was hard because in the first days after your own diagnosis, I mean, even if it's informal one, you think everything in you is kind of broken. Everything in you comes from AuDHD, and you feel like you are defective. The truth is different. If you're an adult, then, I mean, whether you have this diagnosis or not, whether you're autistic or, I mean, it doesn't change that much. Every brain is different anyways. Every spectrum is different. If you already learned a huge amount of your life, coping, hiding, working on yourself, surviving, I mean, it doesn't define you, does it? What does defines you is your name, who you are, how you lived, your life experiences. And researchers at Kennedy Cringer Institute and Johns Hopkins studied nearly 80,000 families in US. And you know what the myth that only 80% of marriages involving someone in spectrum end in divorce? It's not true. The research doesn't support it. What destroys a marriage, however, isn't neurodiversity. It's the lack of understanding. I mean, you can go back to my previous episodes on understanding brains of women and men, that they are different, completely different, because they work differently. So understanding can build it, and that's what this series is for. I mean, the most important thing in this is I understand myself, I understand my son, my family understand us. And because of that, the difficulties that come, and they do come, they are easier now because we know we can react differently. We are aware of our weaknesses and our strengths. And I'm glad actually that this knowledge exists now. That you can discover this today, because someone my age in their 40s, they know that when we were kids, none of this existed. We were just considered weird or difficult with no explanation whatsoever. And now you know. And that's better to understand this when your child is 8, for example, and not when he's 18. So this was episode 1 of 5, and the next episode I will talk about neurobiology, why the same argument keeps coming back in the cycles, why your partner always explodes or always shuts down, and what the science says about how to break that loop. I mean, I want you to encourage you to do a few things. Go back through our previous episodes beyond the happy marriage, because each one gives you practical tools for your relationship. Visit notprofound.com. You'll find additional resources and blog posts there. And most importantly, leave a comment in this episode. Tell me what you recognized in yourself, in your partner, in your child. Your comments, they directly shape what we talk about next. And if you know someone who should hear this episode, send them. It might change the way they understand themselves or their marriage. So until next time, keep beautiful. Keep building beautiful, intentional marriages.